There is J-Rock himself. Julian, how are you, my man?
I'm good, bro. What's up? How you been?
I'm okay. I wanted to ask you first, how are you and your family doing? I know this is a rather difficult time for the entire world with this pandemic, but how have you been? Has everyone been okay and safe and everyone doing all right?
Everyone's good, man. Everyone seems to be healthy, so we're good.
Well, how are you now in terms of, what is your situation? You're coming off of your loss at the hands of Jason Rosario in your hometown of Philadelphia. But, what is the immediate future for Julian Williams? We haven't heard, too much coming from your camp, but what is the next step for you?
Well, the next step is to get back into the ring as soon as possible. I decided to go against the exercise the rematch clause because I needed to get surgery on my face because I had a lot of scar tissue under both eyes. And so instead of going, jumping right back in there and possibly developing more scar tissue, I decided to go ahead and get the surgery. So, that's what I decided to do. So I think I'm gonna take an interim fight, and then I'll be ready to fight the winner of, from what I hear, I think Rosario and Jamel is gonna unify, fight for the undisputed championship.
So
and,
you'll take a fight. You'll take a fight, in the interim, and then you want the winner of that fight.
I'm going to get the winner of that fight.
Okay, so that's already been said and decided.
Yeah.
Well, terrific. Yeah. And Julian, have you thought about when it comes to fighting without fans? Have you thought about that? I'm sure you've watched, some events on television, but have you, how is that going to work for you?
The show must go on. We can't just, pause the whole sport of boxing. We got fighters that's, 4-round fighters, 6-round fighters that need to progress their careers. So, fighting in front of no fans is no big deal to me. I wasn't a highly touted prospect coming out of the amateurs, so I fought in front of inside of a lot of empty stadiums. So it's fine with me.
Well, I know, let's go back a little bit. I want to, educate and kind of tell our viewers more about your story, because a lot of what we see, is what you've done recently. The fact of, going ahead and reclaiming, going ahead and becoming a world champion against Jared Hurd. People know you from that tremendous war, and then, the fact that you were calling out guys, et cetera, et cetera. But, you had a 77, you had almost over 90 fights as an amateur, but you weren't on the Olympic team, anything along those lines. But, tell us about, your amateur career, and also the fact that you grew up and you were bouncing around from different homeless shelters as well.
Right. Well, my amateur career, I was 80-10. I definitely wasn't an Olympian. I actually never even won a national tournament, but I was always at the USA Championships. I was always at the Golden Gloves. I think I was ranked as high as number 5 in the country at a point in time. I want to say back in 2007 or something like that. I had I would say a decent amateur career. I think I cut out a little bit too soon. If I'd have stayed around, I probably could have at least. I know I'd at least made it to the trials on that 2012 team. That would have been my team. But I decided to turn pro earlier because I had graduated high school. It was just I thought it was the right time to turn pro. But nevertheless, yeah, man. As far as how I grew up, I grew up pretty tough, but where I come from, it wasn't necessarily abnormal to grow up like I was growing up. So I was just, one of the very few that pushed through and made something good out of it. And that's what I can continue to do,
What gave you the love for boxing? Is it the fact that you grew up in Philadelphia in such a rich boxing city? Is that what gave you the bug? Because, I think you're a terrific athlete, and I think you could have probably done football, basketball.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Why did you decide to turn to boxing?
I don't think I could have went to NBA, but I definitely think I could have went to the NFL if I'd have, because I played Pop Warner Football League, and I was really good. So I think if I would have kept playing And I think if I would have progressed just like how I progressed in boxing, I think I would have definitely at the very least got a free education at a D1 house at a D1 college. But nevertheless, I chose boxing because of the one-on-one aspect of the sport. A lot of times, 99.9% of the times, if I win, it's because of me, and if I lose, it's because of me. And I grew up fighting, man. Where I come from, you know, you gotta. It's no way around getting into a street fight. You know what I mean? And I had probably hundreds of them. So I think I just gravitated towards boxing. And I remember the first time I stepped into a boxing ring, I just remember how I felt, man. It just made me feel different. Like I knew, like I was passionate about it. And when I played football, I played Pop Warner football. I was really good, and we even won a Pop Warner championship. But it just didn't mean nothing to me because I wasn't passionate about it. I remember winning the Pop Warner League championship, and I remember seeing some of my teammates cry, and they was crying. I'm saying to myself, why these dudes crying? Like, we just won the championship. It's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, what is he crying for? But he was crying because he was passionate about it. And I wasn't crying because it was just like, all right, you know what I mean? But when I start boxing, and I'm putting my all into it, and I'm going to the gym 5-6 days a week, and I'm going to sleep thinking about boxing. I'm waking up thinking about boxing. You know what I mean? It just let me know that that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a champion, and I did that.
What did that moment mean to you when you captured the world title a little over a year ago in what I think is one of the most hellacious, pardon the French on that one. It was a hellacious, it was a grueling fight between you and Jarrett Hurd. You fought him in his home area, you know, and the fact that you went ahead and took the title away from him in his backyard. What did that moment mean for you?
It meant everything because I've been fighting. I've been boxing since I was 12 years old, and at the time I was 29. So that's a lot of years of just hard work and dedication, and I just made my dreams come true. You know what I mean? So it's probably the best feeling I ever felt, besides having my two girls, besides my two daughters being born.
How is that like, being able to, because I know you have two young girls, you're a proud father. Did your mindset change at all when you had them and you are a father of two young girls in terms of how you enter the ring and your approach? Because no longer are you fighting for yourself, but you're fighting for your family. Has that altered your mindset psychologically or physically in the ring?
No, not at all. I think what alters is, you know, well, I think I've always been a responsible person. You know what I mean? So when I had kids, it's just like, okay, it's another responsibility, you know, that I got to take on. But it doesn't like alter the way I fight. Of course, they motivate me. It may alter the way I train because I know that their future is hanging in the balance of my success. So yes, in that aspect, it does alter the way I train, but not the way I fight.
Well, also, I want to, you know, look at one thing you are very proud of is that you don't have many people around you. I read, you know, an article that you carry your own bag to the gym. You're not one to have, you know, a lot of the, you know, the hoopla and those, you know, you're not a person that comes with 10 or 12 people. It's a very small group. But can you tell us about the relationship with you and Steven Breadman Edwards, who I think is such a terrific trainer, and I don't think gets enough publicity about what he's been able to do in his career working alongside you?
We got a good relationship, you know what I mean? It's almost been like a big brother, little brother relationship for the past 10 years. It's taught me a lot of things that goes beyond boxing. He's a good coach, works really hard. He's very particular. He knows how to motivate me. He's a good coach. He's done a really good job.
J-Rock, what happened in your title defense against Jason Rosario in Philadelphia? You know, I know that you're in bounce back mode, but can you tell us and dive into, you know, what happened? I mean, I know you're not one for excuses, but was there something heading into the fight? I mean, was it that you just got caught? What happened? Do you think it was an early stoppage?
I think it was definitely early stoppage, but I'm not one to complain. I don't want to dig into what happened because, to tell the truth, Ray, don't nobody care.
Okay.
Nobody care what happened. So it don't matter. You know what I mean? People only care about the end of results. History is not going to say Julian Williams lost the title to Jason Rosario because X, Y, and Z. So for me, put it out there, it don't matter. You know what I mean? I want to get it back now, however way I can. I'm just in get back mode.
So who could potentially be your next opponent? Have they mentioned to you about a list of names, or what about a date? Because
Not yet.
we are not yet, so they haven't told you about a date.
Yeah, because everything is so backed up right now with the coronavirus, and you know, I mean, they want to get people who haven't fought this year. They want to get them in first, rightfully so. People got a right to make a living. You know what I mean? I think I'm going to fight before the year's out, though. Okay.
So I'm very curious about that. I know you've been also vocal on social media. We saw the lead up about, last weekend's MMA event, stuff like that, about guys being ready. I feel like you are the kind of guy that never stays out of shape. I've seen you around events and stuff when you come out, but you're always in shape. Is that the case?
Yeah, man, I've been working. You know what I mean? Trying to keep my weight under control and trying to get better. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to let this, we'll be off from 6 months, go to waste. That's a half a year. You know what I mean? So I want to come out of this thing better than I went in it.
What makes a fighter from Philadelphia so special and so tough? Because I feel like I feel like Danny Garcia, Tevin Farmer as well. You guys, Stephen Fulton as well, I believe, from your area. You guys are kind of bringing that old school Philadelphia fighter mentality back, which is something that I felt was lost for a few years.
What was the question again?
I said, what makes a fighter from Philadelphia so special and so tough?
You know what, man? It's hard to say because there's so many different. I mean, we all pretty much grew up the same, but it's different. You know what I mean? And I think the gym culture around here is really, really tough. I didn't realize how tough it was until I went to other cities and go inside the gym and see how their gym culture is completely different than ours. So it makes me realize, like, geez, like that's why we're so tough, because of the gym culture. Of course, it's poverty in every inner city in America. So we can't just say it's because everybody's so hungry. That's one of the reasons, but I definitely believe it's more so the gym culture.
Also, Julian, I know you pay attention to not only staying in shape and, staying sharp, but also with your body. I believe you still work with Victor Conte's snack nutrition system. Is that correct? How much of an influence has that been when it comes to making sure you take the proper supplements and, keeping your body in line to perform at peak level?
Victor Conte has been a huge, huge influence. I didn't just start working with Victor Conte. I've been working with Victor since about 2013, 14. It's probably been about over 5 years, and he's been a great help to my career with the supplements and the ZMA and just a lot of different things. He basically, one of the first ones to show me how to cut weight correctly. You know, I mean, just a lot of education when you out there with Victor Conte, and a lot of hard work as well. Like, he introduced me to the hyperbaric. I never knew anything about hyperbaric chambers before I started going out there to Victor Conte, about recovery and rest. There's just so many different things he can educate you on. He's just he's doing a good job out there at Snack.
Well, also, I want to get your thoughts on the rest of the super welterweight division. To me, I think is one of the deepest divisions in boxing. Is this a division that you're going to remain in throughout the rest of your career? Have you thought about going up to 160 as now you're going to, enter your 30s at some point? What's your thoughts on the rest of the division?
I'm sorry.
At 154?
You said, am I going to stay there?
Yeah, are you going to stay at 54?
No, I think I'll have another about maybe 2 more fights, and then I'm going up.
Okay.
Yeah,
so 2 more fights you want to go.
It's definitely a deep division. I think it's the most competitive division in boxing, but for whatever reason, the division don't get as much credit as the welterweights, or let's say the middleweights. You know what I mean? I think the more historical divisions, like the original 8 divisions, always get the most credit. 35, 47, 60, light heavyweight, You know what I mean? They always gonna get the more credit than the than the junior divisions, who just came around like in the '70s. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, that's over my head. There's nothing I can do about that. But we get credit. We just
so
don't get
60
as much
is in
credit.
your future.
Absolutely.
How do you think you'll perform there? Do you think it'll be like, okay, now, you know, are you, I don't feel like you've ever had any issue making weight, but do you think you'll be better suited for 160 as you get older?
Definitely, yeah. Because those extra 6 pounds is a lot. Only people that understand, you know, performing after you, and only people understand cutting weight. Only fighters really understand how to cut weight. And what you feel like if you can have an extra 6 pounds. I've been fighting at this weight since I was 15. I went to the Silver Gloves as a 15-year-old. I fought at 147. When I came back, I turned open class, and I fought 152. And when I turned pro, I fought 154. So I've been fighting in between 47 and 54 my entire life. So I think it's getting to be a little bit much, and I'm gonna go up soon.
You've been a pro since 2012. You have been around since before PBC existed. You have been, you know, an integral part about what PBC is about, you know, when it comes to going ahead and, you know, displaying your talents, everything else. How much of an influence has Al Haymon had on you and your career and what you've been able to do, you know, as a prize fighter? Because you've seen it from before PBC and now you've been an integral part of PBC.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question? Someone called me again.
I said, how has it been like? You fought before PBC existed, and now being a part of what PBC is about, seeing boxing on national television. You fought on, I think, every major network imaginable. But, you know, what has that been like, being ingrained in the fabric of Premier Boxing Champions?
It's been a great experience, you know. Like I said, I signed with Al back in 2012. This is before PBC even started, and I was at the first PBC photo shoot with all the fighters. You know what I mean? So it's been a hell of a ride. It's been just an amazing journey, just to see where it started and to where it's at now, and I'm excited to see what the future holds.
Also, Julian, you know, your relationship with, you know, with Al Haymon and stuff in terms of, you know, what he's been able to do for you, because, you know, we've seen he has influenced so many people, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I can attest to that myself, but you know what, you know, the care that he has for the fighters and those that he's around.
Well, I think first of all, he puts his fighters in the best position to make the most amount of money they can make, to basically reach their full potential. And I can't speak for nobody else. I can only speak for me. But he got me out of a terrible situation with a previous promoter, and I signed with Al when I was 9-0, and I've been on TV ever since I was 11-0. I'm talking Showtime, Fox,
FS1, you know, you had
FS1. I've been on every, like you said, I've been on every network since my first fight. I was 10-0. You know what I mean? I don't want to give into the financial part behind it, but I've been doing really good. You know what I mean? So he's making sure I reach my full potential.
Also, one thing that I hear is that you are very smart and diligent with your money as well. I mean, I'm sure you're doing very well, but you know, I don't see you driving around in a $400,000 or $500,000 car, which you probably could afford with no problem. But you seem to be very much you like to live in humble beginnings. Is that a fair assessment?
I like nice things, you know what I mean. But I just think I think for me, give me 1 second. I think for me, it's I want to be financially stable for the rest of my life. I just don't want to be financially stable for the duration of my career. And I think a lot of fighters, they think like the money is more than what it actually is. And I think that when you put like hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars into younger guys' hands, and they don't really have financial literacy, they don't really know what to do with it, and they just ruin it all. And that's why we get so many different fights.
trying to reestablish our connection with Julian Williams. Go ahead, Julian.
You keep calling me. But what I was saying is that when you put so many all this money into to kids' hands, so a lot of times kids is 23, 24 years old, and you give them millions and millions of dollars, they don't really know what to do with it. You know what I mean? So they gotta understand what we come up in. We come up in hip hop culture and stuff like that, and they see cars and jewelry, and you know what I mean? They go out and try to do the same thing that they see on TV, and they don't really understand that if you don't got money coming in and you just sending all your money out, eventually you're going to be broke. So I don't even want to be I don't want to be like that.
Well, final two questions, Julian. If we have an NFL season, this year with the, even with the coronavirus pandemic, if a football season still happens, I know you're a devout Eagles fan. Can you give us are you optimistic? Are you pessimistic about this Eagles season? What is your current thought process in regards to that?
I'm really undecided, man. I really don't know, man. The Eagles, man, they so up and down. I think we can stay healthy, which is a big if, because we haven't been able to stay healthy for about the past 2 years. We can stay healthy. I think we'll make a legitimate run at a Super Bowl.
Is Carson Wentz the guy? Is he the guy, or is it undecided?
No, Carson Wentz is definitely the guy. I just think that he's a little injury prone. You know what I mean? I think they rushed him back. I think it wasn't this year, it was the previous year before last. They rushed him back too quick, and he got hurt again. I think if he comes in 100% healthy and he can stay healthy, and that's a big if. When he's healthy, he's the guy. But
we'll find out.
We're going to find out.
And finally, Julian, what do you want to tell all your fans that are watching as we continue to deal with the coronavirus pandemic that continues to plague the world? What do you want to tell all the fans? And we're very excited to see you back inside the ring sooner than later.
I just want to tell all the fans to stay healthy, keep wearing your mask, and I'm gonna be back soon, and I'm gonna get them be 2-time champion of the world real soon.
Hey, Julian, thank you so much. Stay safe, my friend, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. And hopefully we'll see a Bears-Eagles NFC championship, my man.
I will see.
Take care, Julian. Right. Julian J. Rock Williams.